All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, and we're going to do our thing today. If you're new to the stream, welcome. So, this is what I do. First, I have Bitcoin on my charts right now. We're going to switch this to the NASDAQ futures, the micro NASDAQ futures, MNQ. And we're going to trade the MNQ using the Trade Scanner Pro to see if we could advance my Apex evaluation account. So if you're not familiar, Apex is a prop firm, and there's some advantages to using a prop firm. This is the account right here, okay, and it's an evaluation account. So I'm basically up like almost $1,000, and I need to reach $3,000. So I have another 2,000 to go. We're in a pretty tough market situation right now, and what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to prove that an evaluation can be beaten in a sustainable way. I have to emphasize sustainable because, yeah, we can beat an eval going all in and just making 15 points. I mean, that's all we have to make. And we're at the $3,000 profit objective. But the thing is, if you don't have a sustainable system, then there's no point because you have to pay a setup fee to get to the payout phase, right? You have to pay another $140. And if you blow the account at that point, you've just wasted your eval fee and your setup fee. Well, what's the point? And you got to start all over again, right? So it has to be sustainable. I don't know how long this is going to take. This may take 2 months. Okay, so far I've been at it a month. But to be fair, I've had the previous week or a week and a half, I couldn't trade much because I was in Spain and Andorra. And if you want to see what I was doing there, you could check the links in the description. I'm actually going to put an overlay on here with that same link so you guys can see. But there's a link in the description to the ICTC 2025, which I was invited to host. So you can see that. Check it out. It's a trader competition, and you get to see how these guys have to navigate a pretty tough market, and you see who comes out the winner and all that stuff. It's really cool. Check it out. I'd love to know what you think. Anyway, all right, let's see. It's time for my daily depression here. Let me see how many people are watching me. Okay. uh, I look at this every day just to remind me that I'm wasting my time. Okay. I got 2 people on YouTube. I appreciate you 2 people watching me. And Twitter, man, I just don't. These algorithms don't like me. I mean, I need to do uploads because that's where I need to get organic following from. Like I know the things I have to do. It just takes time to get these things done. And you guys know I like to cry every day about my lousy numbers every day. Hey, good to see you. All right. So by the way, people, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to share what city or what country you're from. That's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. And do me a favor, if you like the content and you haven't done so yet, please press the like button and subscribe. Here, let me put my little graphic up here. Where is it? Is this it over here? Yeah, this is it. So yeah, do me a favor, like and subscribe. Press the notification bell because that always helps. And if you're watching me on Twitter, please do me a favor and retweet the stream. Okay, that would be very helpful. Please retweet my stream. I don't care if you have 2 followers. Do me that favor. All right, so let's get moving here. And let's talk about trades, shall we? By the way, Bitcoin continues to inch its way higher, right? From my analysis that I wrote on Sunday, I was calling for the long. It was a little tricky. It's still, I mean, we touched, what's the high today? 108.050. I mean, we're back at the high, right? We pushed those 109s. We're making new highs, right? So anyway, nothing but bullish there. So let's switch these over to the MNQ1. All right. Now, I like the NASDAQ futures typically because they move and there's a lot of opportunity. MNQ1. I've been involved with the NASDAQ futures for a long time, so I know them pretty well. Now, I'm going to remove these moving averages because we don't need them on the chart. And over here, I'm just going to make sure that I turn on the Trade Scanner Pro is turned off right now. Why is this chart acting like this? Okay. So when you get the Trade Scanner Pro, you have to make sure you turn these things on because they don't start out, they don't start out on. So you have to turn those on. It's very important. If you don't do that, you're missing out on important information. Now, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn the Trade Scanner Pro off on this chart. As you can see, there's a signal in play here. But again, as I've taught in previous streams, we ignore signals first. Why? Why do we ignore signals first? Who can tell me? Hey, Raymond. Riverside, California. Nice. Welcome. How many collabs with larger channels have you? That's a very good question. You want to know the answer? 0. Yeah, collabs are important, but you want to know something about collabs? I have nothing to offer, right? I mean, they want to see numbers from me if I'm going to, so I'm very limited to who I can collaborate with. Because, like, for example, some of the big names in this space wouldn't even pee on me. All right, that's just the reality. But yeah. So, and right answer there, A. We have to do our analysis first. But I am in talks with some of the guys from the ICTC to do some interviews, because I think, that because I know them personally now, they're more likely to give me that opportunity, even though there's not great benefit for them. They may just do it because they like me, right? And no one's said yes yet. I'm still working on it. Like, they're okay with the idea so far, but I'm still on the trying to get them to confirm, But if I can get them to do it, I get a couple of guys. The co-hosts were totally interested, right? Gert and Nick. They're like, yeah, we're in, and they're trying to help me get these other guys, the traders, to okay it. Malik will probably do it. He's a really cool guy. But the other guys, I'm working on them. So, and Hamaha will probably do it too, the winner of the whole thing, because he expressed some interest there. So I'd love to get Hamaha on here. He's a great guy, and he's got a great sense of humor too. So anyway, but those are some of the collabs I'm working on. Yes, so you guys are correct. We ignore the signals. So if you're a beginner, you don't jump in on this signal. No, we do our analysis first. We must. It's required. The Trade Scanner Pro is secondary. It's not primary. I have to emphasize this every time. Okay, I know you guys have heard it a million times, but I have to emphasize that. All right, so let's begin with our analysis. So first thing I like to do, is this a weekly chart I have up on here? Yes, I think it is. That's a weekly chart. That's a signal on the weekly chart. Man, okay, so we're going to switch this over to a 1 minute. That signal was a weekly signal that's in play there. Okay, so this is our 1 minute. Now, before we even get to our 1 minute, we're going to expand our daily time frame here on the NASDAQ, okay, the NQ. Now, on the daily time frame, I'm only interested, before I start talking about trend and all that other stuff, okay, because we are only looking for 2 components here. Yeah, I hope someone. Well, like I said, Hamaha and Malik, they're highly likely. The other guys, Merlin and I'm trying to get Maudo, they're not as easy to get. So and that's fine, that's cool. And if they don't want to do it, that's cool too. They have the right to say no, and I respect that. But if they'd help me out, that would be great. And it would also provide a ton of value for you guys. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'd like to get those guys on, is because they're experienced traders, and I'm impressed, especially with guys like Merlin, because he's a young guy and he's so advanced for his age. I would like to know, what was his journey? How has he become so advanced at such a young age? And I think we can all learn from that. But I'm really impressed with the young guys, especially. So, all right, back to our analysis. So I'm only interested in 2 components, right? When it comes to the Trade Scanner Pro, the answer that we're trying to come up with here is, what side of the market should I be working on? What side of the market should I be looking for confirmations on? Because the Trade Scanner Pro is a confirmation tool. So that is the answer that I'm trying to find, right? And I only look at 2 components. We look at trend or price structure, that's synonymous, and we look at levels. That is it. We don't need anything else. Those two components can provide adequate information to answer that question. So what I like to do, first step, is I like to look at the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, I'm not looking at trend here. I'm only looking at levels first, okay? Because these are larger time frame levels, they carry more weight. So I'm looking at today's candle and I'm looking at yesterday's candle. That's all I'm interested in. So today's candle, we have an overnight low. That's our overnight low. I want to mark that on the chart. Yesterday, we have yesterday's low, right? That's the overnight, that's yesterday's low. I want to mark that on the chart as well. So those are potential support levels. Then I have the overnight high, and then I have yesterday's high. That's it. That's all I need to know. Okay, I'm done with this time frame. Now we can move to the hourly chart. So on the hourly chart, as you can see here, those levels are still on the chart. Now the hourly, what I'm looking to do here, the reason why I choose the hourly chart is a very important reason. Actually, let me ask you guys in the chat, why do you think I'm using the hourly chart? And as you guys come up with the answer, I'm going to explain. So going into using the Trade Scanner Pro, I know in advance that I'm going to be working on a 1 minute or a 30-second time frame. I know this in advance. I have to emphasize that once again. I'm not jumping around from time frame to time frame checking for signals. I know this in advance, which means I need to get context for working on those time frames. Again, the 30-second and the 1 minute. I get my context from the 1 hour. You could use a 30-minute, but I get it from the 1 hour chart. Okay, so that's all I'm using the 1 hour chart for is context. This is going to help me answer the question: what side should I be taking with the Trade Scanner Pro? The daily time frame just gave me some levels, but that doesn't really tell me what side to be working on exactly. I need price structure so I know I have some sort of bias, and then I can look at these levels with more context. So let's see what we have here. Now, on this bigger picture, as we can see, first of all, the NASDAQ has been in this lousy range. It's been consolidating, right? Going back a few days. You see that? Consolidating. We had this lousy pullback situation yesterday. I tried to trade this, by the way, in my other account, and it was miserable. Okay, I had a negative day trying to trade this. What a waste. But, I reached like a loss limit, and I just had to walk away. It was a couple $100 or whatever. But you have to be very strict about that. Because, it gets to the point where you just realize you're churning, and you say, you know what? I'm not going to make my money back. So why do I bother? Why do I continue doing this? If I make $100 back, is that really going to matter? If I'm minus $250 and I make $100 back, I'm still minus 150. Is that really worth all that effort? Not really. So you just walk away, right? Because otherwise it turns into minus 1,000. Now, I have a separate account for that. That's not this eval account. This eval account, I only trade on this stream so that every trade is documented. So we can go back and we can look at every single trade because I don't take trades outside the stream. All right. So I trade this account every other day, like I'm going to try to do today. Anyway, so our general structure, we can argue here, is bullish because we have this entire structure. It's consolidation. Yes, it's a consolidation, but it's a higher low. It's a higher low relative to the broader move, right? This is the broader structure when we zoom out a bit. Clearly, these lows are higher than these other lows, right? And we're also, not only that, but we have a higher low that was established earlier today, overnight, it looks like. And wherever you have a higher low, typically it leads to a higher high, right? So that's my bias. And analysis done. I don't really need to know more than that. Now, we have to see, how do our levels come into play? Well, if I'm anticipating higher highs because we're in a generally bullish structure, right? Don't be confused by this. This is a consolidation, and we never broke this low. So while this might have some bearish activity in it, it's not bearish. That's not bearish at all. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not in line with the bigger picture. So usually in this type of environment, you're either looking for reversals to go long. If it's not working, you just step aside. Maybe try to take some bites short, but this is not a high potential short at all, right? Looking for the long. So the market's trying to deliver that now. we have the failed low situation right here. We have a failed low. And on top of that, it's a higher low, right? This area is a higher low relative to this. So all bullish signs. Current candle is an outside bar, right? Bullish engulfing candle, all bullish arguments. I see no reason to short this. Now, as far as our levels go, look at this, right? So this level right here was yesterday's low. We bounced off of obviously today's low, and then yesterday's low was a support. Okay, so in a bullish environment, supports are more likely to hold, resistances are more likely to break. That means if we pull back to any type of support, I'm looking for reversals to go long. Why is that important to know? Who can tell me? In terms of counter trend mode or trend mode, why is it important to recognize that about a support? Who can explain that to me? Okay. Yeah, A is on top of the answers here, man. I mean, look at this. He's answering everything. Look at this. Right? He's answering everything correctly. He's been clearly following me very closely. Nice job. Nice job, A. So again, my question is, why is it so important to be in tune with our general bias relative to the levels? So if we pull back to a support, if we pull back to the support level here, let's say you guys are watching and it's like, 1 p.m. and we pull back to this area right here. Trade Scanner Pro is showing you trend is bearish, but do we really want to go bearish? How would you answer that question? So I'm going to turn the Trade Scanner Pro back on. This is the hourly chart. So we have our bias. All right, while you guys are answering that question, I'm switching this to the 1 minute chart because that's the time frame I plan to work on. Actually, no, this has to be the 30-second chart. Here's a 30-second chart. All right, so I'm monitoring 2 time frames, 30-second and 1 minute. Is this my 1 minute over here? There should be. Is that my 1 minute chart? It's kind of a weird looking 1 minute chart. Let's see, 1 minute. Yeah, it's my 1 minute chart. Okay, so this trend is this momentum is clearly bullish. Okay, my Trade Scanner Pro is on. Let me just make sure my settings are on. Okay, everything is on. If you notice, guys, in these charts, right, the Trade Scanner Pro says that the trend is bullish. That's very important to keep an eye on, especially on these small time frames. Right. So, Raymond, right. Well, so the answer, Raymond, that's a decent answer, but the reason why we want to be very aware of these levels in terms of context is if we pull back, if price works its way back to this support level here, most likely it'll say trend is bearish. And what that means is the Trade Scanner Pro is not looking for longs, but we are looking for longs, aren't we? So in that situation, if we're looking for longs because our analysis says supports are more likely to hold, then we have to switch to counter trend mode. Let's see what A says over here. Smaller time frames are subject to changes, right? So we need to make sure that we see only longs by switching the counter trend. Right, exactly what I was just saying. So again, this guy is on top of it. Okay, this guy knows how to use the Trade Scanner Pro because he's been following all my streams. And that's what these streams, by the way, that's the purpose of these streams, right? It's like a training guide and it's free. So if you're using the Trade Scanner Pro, you can go back and watch all of my streams and you will learn a lot of valuable lessons because, you're not going to learn it on your own. You're not going to figure it out. It's not intuitive. And I need to write like an instruction manual, which will take me forever because I can't even make a 10-minute video and I'm going to write an instruction manual. So, you know what I'm saying? So these streams serve as the instruction manual. And clearly, A here has been taking a lot of notes. So again, that's correct. This trend status box changes very frequently on small time frames, like the 30-second. So if we pull back all the way to this support, which is a notable support, and we just finished saying supports are likely to hold, resistances are likely to break, then I'm interested in longs at that support. But the Trade Scanner Pro is not going to deliver longs because the trend, it's seeing the momentum is bearish. It'll say trend is bearish. So to get longs, I need to switch to counter trend mode, which you do very easily by clicking over here, counter trend mode. Okay. Now that's confusing. I know, but that's why you have to learn it that way. Now, if you find that too confusing and you're like, oh man, I don't want to be switching back and forth, it's too cumbersome. I understand that. We put that function in there for more advanced traders. If you're newer, then your only solution, if you're newer, is to wait until the trend turns back to bullish on your smaller time frame. Eventually, if the market bounces off that support, eventually this will turn back. The trend is bullish and it will start giving you long signals again if it's a sustained move. So that's your other option. You can wait, but you may have to wait an hour, right? Where counter trend mode, you're getting the reversal. So that's why it's for more advanced traders. Okay, now, so look, I'm getting a heads up. See that little green column that's popping up in there? That's a heads up. And now it hasn't painted. But if that paints, what that tells me, and you can see these red columns here, what that tells me is that a signal is likely to appear in the next 3 to 5 candles, right? And obviously it's green, so it'd be a long signal. Okay, cool. That's what I'm interested in. So let's see. Now, it doesn't guarantee that a signal will appear. It's just a heads up. That's why it's called heads up. All right, so let's see. Now, my 1 minute is not giving me anything, as we can see here. But I do have this trend is generally bullish. Yes, we can argue there is a lower high, but this could be a consolidation. Okay. Oh, look at that. What time is it? 10 o'clock. Okay, the 10 o'clock number. I don't know if there was a particular, news item at 10 o'clock, but often 10 o'clock and 10:30, there are reactions in the price action. There are often some type of reaction. Often it's because there's news that comes out at this time. So this could go our way, this could go the wrong way, right? It could go our way, or it may not go our way. I hate taking trades. I really don't like taking trades into the 10 o'clock number because of that random element. It may work, and when it works, great. I look like a genius. But when it doesn't work, it sucks, man. So I prefer to be, taking trades after 10 o'clock. Now, 10 o'clock, see what I mean? See, like that could have sucked people in. Oh, it's long. And now look. What happened? I don't understand. This sucks. Yeah. It's a conspiracy theory. No, it's just random. Okay, look, we're getting heads up again. So this is the great thing about the Trade Scanner Pro. It keeps me out of trouble. I may have taken a trade like that because I may have reacted to the candle. There's no signal, right? The signal may occur now in the next 3 to 5 candles. We'll see. And if I get the signal, I'm going to prepare to take 2 contracts long, and I'm going to just press this button to go long. I have to add the trade buttons. I have to make some changes to this. There's a signal. All right, now what I want to see here is how does this next candle form? Does it turn red right away? Does it stick to the green? Let's see. I'm going to give it a little chance here because, okay, I'm in. Whoa. Okay, I'm this thing. Okay, this thing is nuts, man. So it went beyond when the candle gets big like that. Sometimes a signal can disappear. It can vanish. Now, hopefully, if we get back to that objective, let me switch this back to 1 because I'm on a sell. I want to take one off the table. This is news spikes. We spiked right into the objective. You see that? I don't like that sometimes because obviously sometimes you get the spike going the other way right after it. You get like the knee jerk reaction, right? Like this type of action. I don't like that. I like more stability. Unless it wants to go vertical in a straight line and keep going, that's nice. But when this gets funky like this can go straight to the stop just as fast. Okay. So see what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. I don't like that, man. Because the NASDAQ is wild like that. And I don't want to, I don't like I don't like when green goes to red. You know what I mean? So I may blow one out just to reduce my risk. Let's see how this goes. I'm trying to give this candle a chance to close. There we go. So if I get a little more green. Now, by the way, what is my risk on this trade? 26 points. That's nothing. That's not a lot. All right. So we're dealing with more these. While this looks wild over here, we're actually dealing with tame markets. Okay, this is tame. A 26-point risk. That's like nothing. Okay, just back in early April, we were looking at on 1-minute candles and 30-second candles. We were looking at 200 points of risk. I don't know if you guys remember that. All right, and that's so the Trade Scanner Pro is a nice tool to quantify risk because, and what it's doing, there's no magical secret here. It's using the average true range. That's how it's calculating it. All right. And in fact, I had done a whole video about how that works. And I thought people would like to know the formula and all that stuff. But it turns out people are just, they don't want to calculate it themselves. It's just easier to have the tool do it. So the tool does it, right? But it's no secret how it does that. And you can see over time how the ranges change. So that tells you about the market's character. Okay, I don't like this price action. It should be when we should be rolling. This thing should be rolling, man. Come on, people, let's do this. This thing should be rolling. It's not. Where's the momentum? Especially after a spike like that. Like that should get the party started here, and it's not started. We're lingering. I don't like that. So it's still trying to linger its way higher, which I'm trying to give it a chance. But what I'm looking for here is like a spike. Like this, what I should see is this. Right? That's what I should see if the momentum is going to continue. So this makes me a little what's the word? Apprehensive, maybe? See, you have to understand something. This is an evaluation account, and I'm trying to advance the account each day, right? So, all right, goodbye. I'm getting out of one. I'm just going to take one off because I don't like this price action. I'll still hold on to one and see if we can get back up to the profit objective. Also, if we go back to the blue line, I'll see they shook me up. They always do that to me, man. It's all right. See, it's all over the place. Let me just check. How am I doing here? I'm not making much money on this. I opened P&L. So I'm not really making any money on this. Yeah, I'm up like $30. It's not much. Okay, so I'm going to try to ride this one. I need to learn. You like my impression of the dumb money? What are you talking about? Stop making fun of me. We're smart. Okay, so all right, I should have held on, right? Now we're on our way to the. I still have, but this is why I still have one. How many times have we seen this thing, flounder around, and then I give back the whole thing, right? I don't want to give back. That's the thing. I don't want to give it back. So I'm not willing to take that chance. If I'm not willing to take the chance, then I should get out. I should take something off the table, reduce my risk. See what I mean? Like this price action is less than ideal. Why are we getting a red candle here like that, right? So this by the way is a failed high. I don't like that at all. I'm going to give this a chance because I only have one contract. Now we're retesting the entry price. Maybe I might get another entry there where I will add one back on, possibly. But I'm going to want to see a green candle, not a red candle. Right? So by the way, the secondary ad or the third ad, that's not something you're going to figure out on your own. That's something you're going to learn by watching these streams, right? By getting my free training. Okay. All right, I'm going for it. This is not exactly the best price. So I put on the extra one. I bought my one back. So I have two again. Not the best price, okay? But we had a pin bar off the blue line, and I'll give it a try. All right, but I may, I'm going to change this back to two contracts in case I have to blow it out. That may cost me right there. We'll see. If this thing collapses, it's not going to be cool. Now, if you notice, my trailing stop is now beginning to appear. You can barely see it over here, the trailing stop, but that helps to reduce the risk as the trade continues. If the trade can continue in my favor, the whole point of the trailing stop is to help me stay in the trade longer and ride a winner if we're going to get a winner. But this environment, I have to say, has not been very conducive for those type of those runners. They're hard to come by compared to where we were like a month ago where we had very wild markets. So a runner was more likely, a runner could deliver 200 points. in just a few minutes. Not in this environment. In this environment, the follow through stinks. Okay, we're not getting follow through, and that's the same problem I had yesterday. I was sitting there, I'm trying to buy these things right on these long signals, and it would go like maybe 5 or 10 points and then turn right around on me, and I'd be like, man, this thing sucks. So you have to recognize the character and of the environment. If I trade my other account today, I will keep that in mind, and I will look for less. Maybe if I can get like a 10-point move here and there, take it and be done with it. And that's it. Don't look for, because I typically look for 20-point moves or maybe 30-point moves, which the market still delivers, but in this environment, it's not delivering it in like nice, clean cut moves. It's like it flounders around for a while and then it squeezes, right? Very hard. No, that's a good question, A. Actually, Apex lets you basically you trade CME products, and CME has a Bitcoin futures product, but it sucks. I've tried to trade it. The spreads on it are ridiculous. Like I don't know how you could day trade that with those spreads. I mean, it's possible, but it's very limiting, and you can't take overnights. So if you're going to deal with something usually with larger spreads like that, overnights, you need to be able to take overnights, right? You need to be able to hold to the next day, because basically you need to swing trade it, basically. And you can't do that with Apex. So, and I don't know if they actually offer I don't know if they actually offer the CME. I don't know if they even offer that contract. I know the CME has it and Apex has CME products, but I don't know specifically if they have Bitcoin available. But if they do, the CME version stinks. I'm just telling you right now, it stinks. So that's where you would use like a future a perpetual futures or a centralized exchange. Coinbase is horrendous also, but if you could use someone like MEXC will allow you to trade without KYC. It's still somewhat limited, but it's better than everyone else. Okay, and Whitebit, the company that hired me, that brought me on for the ICTC, they're decent as well. But the thing is, they don't service U.S. customers. But at some point, if they manage to offer something like that, I would consider them as well. But they make it very hard to trade these things. The U.S. government, it's the CME actually. The CME controls the politicians, and the CME does not want competition. I guess you can't blame them, right? Because they want to keep all the money, because they know that if they let other companies into this space, companies like Whitebit, who are very aggressive, they're going to lose out on a lot of business. Okay, they're going to lose out because, for example, just to give you an idea. I had an experience where I got to test out Whitebit's customer service. Right now, customer service is probably one of the most important things. If you're running an exchange, your customer service needs to be impeccable, right? Just like, I deal with Chase Bank, and their customer service is excellent. I get someone on the phone within 5 minutes. They speak good English, and they solve my problems. They usually solve the problems with no problem. It's usually a good experience, okay, with Chase. But dealing with like Coinbase, for example, right? There's no phone. You can forget the phone, first of all. Second of all, you send them a message and you might hear back from them in a day or two. Now that's unacceptable. A day? I have to wait a day for a company. Now Coinbase makes billions and trillions of dollars. You mean to tell me that Brian Armstrong can't take part of his salary and invest it in customer service? I don't understand that. Okay, I shouldn't have to wait a day. I should be able to call someone on the phone, and I should get someone on the phone within a minute or two, and they should be able to help me with my problem. That's how it should be. Whitebit delivers that. Okay, and they deliver it 24 hours. Because a guy he gave me like a little example, and I was on the phone with one of their customer service people. He had no idea that it was me, and I was asking them if they can help me out. This is at 1:30 a.m. that I was on the phone with them, and they had good English. They were very helpful, and I said, man, if whatever market these guys get into, I feel bad for the competition, because well, look at this. All right, I'm buying. Oh, I bought two by mistake. All right, whatever. I have four on now, so I'm going to be prepared to bang these out. If this doesn't work, I'm banging them out. But I got this reentry situation right here. Let's see if this turns into something. But I need to be prepared to bang these out because four is kind of a lot. Actually, for this environment, four is not ridiculously a lot because the risk is relatively small. But I just don't want to take a loss on four. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so Whitebit's customer service unparalleled. They were like equivalent to Chase Bank, right, with their customer service, and I have not seen that anywhere else. Okay, I have not seen that from, especially from companies that I would expect that from, like Coinbase. Even these prop firms like Apex and Take Profit Trade, their customer service is less than stellar. I'm just have to be honest. If I have to wait a day for a response, that's less than stellar. Okay. So, all right. Not liking that. Let's see. So I'm going to give this thing a little bit more of a chance. I'm watching my 1 minute, right? My 1 minute is not really delivering like this pin bar on the 1 minute. Not a good sign. I may have to bang these. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bang just two of them. I'll just reduce my size. Instead of blowing the whole thing out, I'll just reduce my size and then see if I can ride it. I mean, we're just consolidating here. Let's see. Try to give it a chance. Give it a chance. Okay. Well, so I mean, I've never used Bank of America, so I'm sure like these banks. I mean, Chase, like I said, I've had a good experience with Chase compared to someone like uh, uh, TD Bank, which is horrendous. Okay, I have nothing good to say about that bank, but Chase, I've had a good experience with. I've never tried Bank of America, but you say they're good. Okay, you know, not every bank is going to be bad. You know, one bank is not going to dominate customer service. I'm sure other ones compete as well. But I'm just saying, when it comes to these exchanges, and you compare a company like Coinbase, which makes trillions of dollars, and they have no problem bragging about it, right? And their customer service stinks. So I think it's because when you have no competition, you don't care, right? You're like, well, where else are they going to go? Because US customers don't really have too many choices. It's either Coinbase or maybe like one other exchange. Like you don't really have too many choices. Where in the EU or globally, traders have way more choices. And some people are going to step up to compete. And I have to say, I was impressed with Whitebit. I was impressed with their efforts because they definitely want to play ball. Okay, and just judging by the way they put the ICTC together, that was no joke. That was no let's stream out of our bedroom type of situation. That was a serious. I mean, I even had a makeup artist. Okay, they had a makeup girl putting makeup on me. I mean, I'd like to have that regularly, but they were very, and also just the way they took care of everyone, right? They took care of everything, the logistics, the rooms, this, that, everything, the food. I mean, every detail was covered. It was unbelievable. So they're pretty solid. I mean, I don't know every detail of the company, but I have to say, so far my experience has been unbelievable. I mean, I was just like really just blown away by their work ethic and their work ethic. I mean, just dealing with their team, right? I dealt with various members of their team. I'm watching this thing. I'm not liking it. Um, and every single one of their team members, every single one was 100% engaged. They all follow the same philosophy. They're all on the same page, and these people work hard. I mean, the days were long, and it'd be like midnight, and these people would still be at it, like having meetings, doing this, doing that, doing this, making sure going over things. Like these people work hard, and even the person that set up that was the core that had to coordinate all of the like the transfers and the all the logistics, like she would check up on me. How is this going? Like, this girl's a busy girl. She I would not expect someone like that to be able to check up on me. How was your ride? How was this? How was that? I'm always like, wow, you know, She doesn't get anything out of that. So it was quite an experience, I have to say. So if you're just tuning in, you want to see what I'm talking about with Whitebit, there's a link in the description. I know, you've seen it like 10 times, but there's a link in the description about the ICTC 2025. It was a week ago now, and I got to, they were nice enough to invite me to host it, and it was a great time. And the people that I met there were I can't even describe the type of people that, like that, just such great people. I wish I met people like that all the time. Another interesting thing, while we're waiting for this trade, because I may have to blow this out here, I got to meet, and I haven't been able to share this yet, and this is something that you guys would really be interested in. I got to meet market makers, and I learned a couple of things about this business that I wasn't actually familiar with, because I come from like the forex side, and I thought this worked similar to the forex side as far as the market making side goes, but I learned a few things that are new, and I met actual market makers that make markets on these exchanges, right? So apparently, the EU has regulations that prevent exchanges from taking the other side of their trades against their customers. So Whitebit or whoever's in the EU, any of these other centralized exchanges, they are not allowed to take the other side of our trades. I thought that was commonplace. In Forex, it seems to be, but not in this space. So they need market makers, okay? Anyone can be a market maker, by the way. Anyone can be a market maker. You could be a market maker. It's just you have to have automated systems, and it's not an easy barrier. There's a pretty high barrier to entry to become a market maker, but technically anyone can be a market maker, right? All you're doing is you're putting money, and you're making a bid, and you're making an offer. You're basically making the spread, right? So, but the thing is, it needs to be automated, right? That's the key thing. So I learned a lot about how they actually make markets in these perpetual futures contracts. And it's like, wow, it really opened my eyes to a few things. And one of the main things was market makers do not know how much money is in your account. And they actually, their only goal really is just to make that spread, right? That's how they get paid. That's, as a market maker, that's nothing unusual. But what they'll do sometimes, it depends on the situations. It depends on the situation. They'll widen their spreads in certain situations because they can detect the bias, right? But the algo does all of this. There's no person behind the computer pressing buttons. The algo. So you have to have a very well-versed development team to produce these things, right? And it was just very interesting to hear from actual market makers and what they actually do in these markets. So yeah, very interesting. All right. So this trade, you know what? Since I have so many contracts here, I'm going to start selling. I'm going to take one off. Why not? Sell one. Let's just take one off early here. Why not? Now I have three because I bought four by mistake. We're almost at that profit objective. As you can see, the market doesn't want to pop. It just doesn't want to go my way. But if we can pop up to that profit objective, I will sell another one. Yeah. So anyway, these were great guys too. I mean, just very friendly, very willing to answer. I had a lot of questions, and they were very open to answering questions and just teaching me what it's like. And they lose money too. Market makers actually can lose money because if the market goes against them, because again, when the market's going lower, they have to buy, right? And if the market's going higher, they have to sell, and they have to be their orders have to be in the market for a certain period of time. Like there's certain rules they have to follow, and they can lose money. Right now, they can make the money back, but they don't always win. That's another thing, right? They don't always win, and they have to adjust their algos regularly as the environment changes. So they have a lot of similar problems that we have as retail traders, but they do have some advantages, like just capturing that spread and making fees based on that. So that's something that we can't really do in a practical way, but they have to get paid for facilitating the market. That's what they're doing. We are not facilitating the market. We are trying to extract from the market. That's what we're trying to do. So that's why we're always paying. But yeah, it was such a great experience. Such cool guys. So that's where I met one of the market makers. I met was this guy from Belgium, and he's the one that told me that I was pronouncing Stian's name wrong for 2 years. It's not Stian, it's Stain. And for 2 years, I'm calling him Stian. And then when he saw the video, he said to me, "That guy from Belgium is correct." I said, "Dude, for 2 years, I was calling you the wrong name. Why wouldn't you tell me?" He just he gave up because I'm an ignorant American, so he just figured, all right, Stian is good enough. But his name is Stain, like stained glass. That's his name. And I'm sitting there calling him Stian. I'm like, Stian. Imagine Merck. Hey, Merck. Like, my name is Mark. All right, Merck, how's it going, Merck? Right? That's like, imagine if someone's calling me Merck the whole time. And I'm like, all right, I give up. You can call me Merck. But no, my name is Mark. So anyway, poor Stian. But yeah. So look, this market stinks, man. I mean, at least it's not collapsing on me, but the market's like, yeah, don't worry, just give it a few minutes. We're going to collapse on you. We have 6 minutes till 10:30. That's a good time to collapse. One thing I forgot to mention is when we have the 10 o'clock candle, which we're 30 minutes or 25 minutes after that candle. What is that? Let's see who's paying attention. And maybe let someone else answer the question because I know you know the answer. See, you've like when Stain used to come to my chats, he used to answer all the questions. Right? So now you've taken his place. You're answering all the questions, which is cool. I appreciate that someone's answering the questions. But here's the question. The 10 o'clock candle, why is that significant? So here's what we'll do, We'll give it like a few minutes. If no one answers it, then you can answer it. But someone else besides who knows why? Why is the 10 o'clock candle significant? Why is the 10 o'clock candle close important to recognize? Which we'll take a look at here in a sec. Oh, okay, hold on. Not liking this. Prepare to bang. Prepare to bang. I got 3 contracts. I sold 1 for a profit, but I still got 3. Not cool. I told you this thing was going to collapse on me. All right, hold on. We're almost at the trailing stop. Got to respect that trailing stop. The trailing stop has advanced decently. I'm going to give it a chance. It's trying to give me another signal here. See, it's trying to bounce off the entry line. See that? It's trying. It's giving me a heads up, so I'm going to try to give this a chance. Hey, Kev, how are you? Merck. That's right, in Irish. If you speak Irish, my name is Merck. You're smart. Smarty pants. That's how they say it in Irish. There's this Irish guy that I follow. He's like one of those business guys. It's hilarious. I love his accent because he'll be like, the guy is smart. That makes me laugh, man. Smart. So you call me Merck in Irish. I'm making fun of the Irish. All right, look, we got a signal on the 1 minute. Nice. Oh, that's nice. All right. And I still got 3 contracts. All right, I'm going to switch back to 1 over here because I want to prepare to sell. I would start by pushing up now 10:30 going into test of yesterday's close. Well, maybe if 10:30 follows through, we're not even at 10:30 yet. This is just all a bunch of noise. So maybe we get the momentum from maybe we get a 10:30 breakout. I don't know. That would be nice. I'd be happy about that. I would be happy, as Jerry Seinfeld would say. But so who can answer my question about the 10 o'clock candle? Why is a 10 o'clock candle significant? Why should we, as day traders, why should we pay attention to that candle at the 10 o'clock close? Why? Let's see who can answer. I don't see anyone answering it, So if you want to answer it, feel free. I don't see any answers for the 10 o'clock candle. Why should we pay attention to the 10 o'clock candle? I'm getting tired of this, by the way. I'm getting tired. I'm selling another one. I'm getting tired of this price action. So I sold the second one. I only have 2 left. Okay, because I had 4. I don't like this price action, man. This stinks. Really getting tired of this here. We shouldn't be floundering like this. We should be going vertical. We should be doing, if we're going to be strong, where is this candle? Where is it? Why are we not seeing this? Now, I have my 1 minute signal. That's great to see. But, this price action stinks, man. Okay, yes, A. See, A was prepared. He's got his notebook out. Yes, the 10 o'clock close. You need to pay attention to the opening range because the 10 o'clock candle establishes the opening range. If you're not familiar with opening range breakout, Google it. And the way I like to use the opening range, and by the way, every time this thing touches this blue line is another opportunity to add. But I'm not going to continue. I had four. I'm not. We're not even touching the profit objective. So as you can see, I'm lightening up. I only have two now. So if this thing goes the wrong way on me, I'm only going to lose on two, not four. Right? That's why I'm blowing them out one at a time here and trying to give this a chance because this price action is less than ideal. So yeah, back to opening range. Google opening range breakout. Now there are people they try to give you like these elaborate strategies. You don't need to know all that stuff. All you need to know is what the opening range is, right? And how it can help give us more information to work with. So for example, if we're above the opening range, then that gives us a long bias. We should probably be looking for longs and we should probably not be looking for shorts if we're above the opening range. If we're inside the opening range, then we can work both sides, possibly, right? Maybe if we're at a resistance, we could try shorting it. If we're at a support, we could try buying it, that kind of thing, because it's more of a consolidation. And if we're below the opening range, you're looking for shorts, right? It confirms the bias. That's the way I like to look at that. So using something like the Trade Scanner Pro, if we're above the opening range, I'm looking for long setups, okay? Especially if you get to the opening range border. Okay, maybe 10:30? Yeah, 10:30. Okay. Maybe now we can get some some little green here, some little green stuff. Some little mean green. I could use some mean green in my account. Come on, people. Let's do this. All right, I like the 10:30 candle. It went my way. That could have completely went the other way as well. So you guys understand that the opening range? Yeah, well, Raymond, I agree. I mean, look at this. It's just the market stinks, but technically, look at this. That's a consolidation to go higher. That's not bearish. That's a what do you call it? That's a higher low consolidation. So theoretically, we should break out higher, right? That's a bullish continuation, not bearish. So certainly not want to be on the short side, right? It's just there's no momentum here. The market just can't get out of its own way. But that doesn't mean it won't be higher in an hour. You know what I mean? So dealing with this noise is very hard, especially if you're a beginner and you're going to overreact to every candle. I mean, you see me, I overreact to some of these candles, and I've been doing this a long time. So it's very tough to sit through this because 1 minute, we may get a candle that looks like this, okay? Followed by the next minute, we get a candle that looks like that. So it's very tricky. It's very tricky. And in this environment, if you find yourself getting stopped out a few times, walk away. Just walk away. There's no reason to bang your head against the wall. That's the situation I had yesterday. The market was the market was generally bullish, but it had that lingering that slow pullback, but it wasn't really bearish. So I kept looking for longs, and it just wasn't following through. And I was basically just churning. So you have to recognize the character and environment of the environment and just walk away. Like if you're having a hard time and you're like, this sucks, and you find yourself getting frustrated, walk away, right? Like I'm going to do here soon. So we don't get to this profit objective. Is it that hard to get up to there? I mean, what the F is the problem here, people? We get like these nice little squeeze candles and then it gives it back. So not good character. That's just not good character. We're still consolidating. So eventually maybe we break out. Okay. But it may take too long and I'm not going to be streaming when it breaks out. I'm just trying to manage what I have. I still have 2 contracts. I'm trying to deal with this. I'm only up like 50, not even $50. I'm barely up any money for all this nonsense that I'm sitting through here. Okay. It'd be nice if I could get away with $100, but you know what? If the market's giving you a hard time, you don't push it. If I'm just happy, if I can get away green, I'll take it. I don't care if it's $10. So look, I locked in $21 and my open P&L I'm like losing money. Look at this. Come on, man. This thing sucks. I'm thinking, oh, I got to be up like $150. I'm up like nothing. All right, I'm going to put this 2 contracts in here, preparing to sell, because this is ridiculous. I'm like fluctuating between like $0 and $50. We keep getting these heads up, like right at the entry line. Now, we keep touching this entry line, right, which is a coincidence, and we keep bouncing off of it. At some point, it's going to break below it, right? Because when something keeps testing and testing and testing, eventually it breaks. So we should not keep testing that. Because what's happening, you have to understand what's happening here. People keep getting long up here. That's what's happening. People keep getting long and it's not breaking out, and more people are getting long. So what's going to happen is they're all going to bang it out at the same time. That's a possibility. And, I'm going to get stuck in that. So if we go to the trailing stop, I'm just going to have to bang. We're like right there. I'm going to have to say goodbye. Let's see. Oh, it hasn't, not yet. But if we touch that trailing stop, I have to respect it. Okay? I just have to respect it. It's going to be a small loss or whatever. I'm just going to have to deal with it. It's better than losing $100. Okay? Again, my goal in this account is to advance the account and not get caught in any nonsense, because you know what? These days may be tough, and these days may be tough to deal with or whatever, but there will be days where we get some easy trades, right? And those are the days that are going to push the account forward much more. So if I can keep the losses very small on these days, or I'm just breaking even, then I'm doing my job, right? You're not going to reach your profit objective every day. I mean, my profit objective on this account is $200. Like, I would like to reach $200 a day, but sometimes the market's not going to make that easy, and I'm not going to push. Right? This is not the type of game where you say, I got to make this happen. And this isn't like being a lawyer. You're a lawyer, you're gonna read your books, and you're gonna go to court, and you're gonna be assertive, and you're gonna tell that judge and blah, 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 right? You're gonna take out the market's the opposite. Right? The market's either working with you or it's not. If it's not working with you, you don't push it. Because you can't. It's like trying to argue with the ocean. You're gonna argue with the ocean? Or if it's too wavy for you, you're like, you know what? I'll wait till tomorrow. I'm not going to take my boat out today. I'll take my boat out tomorrow, because the ocean is not cooperating, right? So you have to look at it like that. Okay, now maybe this time, guys, we can go to the profit objective, because I'm getting tired of repeating myself here. But this is a great learning experience. What do you guys think? And by the way, for those of you that are watching on Twitter, man, there's like no one watching me. Look at this. If you're on Twitter, please retweet my stream. It helps me out. And if you're here on YouTube, all right, press the like button, subscribe, do me that favor, help me out. Press the, if you like the content. But I really got to do something about these numbers, man, because this is depressing. Really, like, I appreciate, like, A's watching me. I appreciate you guys. Raymond, Kev, I appreciate you guys very much. But come on, man. I should be doing at least like 100 people. I'm not even doing that. Like, it kind of makes me like, man, what am I doing? I'm sure if I spoke to a marketing consultant, they'd be like, dude, you're wasting your time. I'm sure that's what they'll tell me. So anyway, look, back to the blue line again. It's probably going to break lower this time. All right. I gave it a chance. I think I gave this thing a fair chance. Go ahead. Touch it. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. Touch it so I can get out. I'll respect it. Go ahead. Touch it. You don't want to take that conversation out of context. Touch it. You're going to give me a pin bar? Another heads up. This market stinks, man. I don't even think I'm going to trade my other account today. I may not even bother. Or maybe I'll wait till like 2:30. Do it. You know who I'm in. You know the impression I'm doing there, right? Do it. Just full of impressions today. Wow, look, they let me stay in this thing. Oh, what happened? Okay, my 1 minute is turning on and off there. All right, I may just start. I may Let's see if we get the breakout here on this one, because I'm in 1 hour and it's time for me to wrap this up. I've been sitting in this trade the entire hour. I'm preparing. I'm just, I have a chance to get away with a little bit of green. I may just blow one out here. Let's see if we get the continuation beyond the minor resistance that we've been dealing with. Let's see if we can squeeze through. Because remember, another thing that happens in these situations is every time it touches that support, people are shorting it. That's the other side of it, right? One side is going to win and one side is going to lose. Whoever loses, I'm getting out of one. All right, that's it. Now I have one left. Okay, so I've reduced my risk to one. Look at my trailing stop. It has advanced over to here. So my risk on this trade is very low. All right, 10 points. So, if I lose that, all right, whatever, man. So I've reduced my risk. Let's just see. So I've locked in, looks like I've locked in about, my open P&L is $25. So, and I have a total P&L, so $50. If I close this thing now, I'm up $50. All right. It's nothing to write home about. It's certainly nothing to brag about. I'm not making $10,000 a day like all the other fake gurus. But what I'm showing you here is realistic. This is something that you should expect as a beginner working on an eval account. This is reality, people. I know it's not popular. I know you don't like it. It's not glamorous. I can't afford a Ferrari making only $50. I understand. But if you want to make money in this game, I'm showing you. Look, there we go. Now I wish I had my 4 contracts back. It's always the case. But at least I have one. Instead of crying about what I don't have, I should be thankful that I'm still in this trade and I have one. Right? That's called risk management. So it's a slow day, but the objective is high. Well, Raymond, I completely agree with you. It's a slow day, and the market really hasn't changed. It's still bullish. It's just we have no momentum right now. Okay, but we may get a breakout at like noon, and this thing may be pushing highs by 2:30, right? So I agree. There's nothing bearish about this. I would not short this. This is not a short. So it's very common that people make the mistake where they're like, oh, this market's at the top. I'm going to short it. There's nothing bearish going on here. It's just not, there's just no momentum. Excuse me. That's what we're dealing with here. This is just a lack of momentum. See what I mean? Like we almost get to the profit objective, then we turn red again. All right, whatever. I'm going to try to give it a chance to see if we get the little mini high or low. Maybe the next leg takes us up to the objective and then I'll blow it out. But otherwise, I'm preparing to exit this thing because I'm just tired of watching this thing fluctuate back and forth. But you are 100% correct. This market is not bearish. So, if I was flat, if I was not in this position, first of all, there were numerous opportunities to re-enter this, right? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 opportunities on the Trade Scanner Pro because you could re-enter on that blue line. You see that? How that works? I consider that a place to add, or if you miss the trade, you can enter there. And that's very important, especially, okay, that's it. Goodbye. That's it. I've had it. Goodbye, Mr. Market. Goodbye. Had it with this nonsense. Okay, so I'm out. So I locked in $38. All right. It's better than negative because just a few minutes ago, I was negative something. I wasn't negative much, maybe like $20 or something. But when the price was fluctuating around here, and maybe it goes back up from here, but you know what? I'm not willing to take the chance. I've had it. I've given this thing a lot of chances, and this leg here should have been the leg to take us, to the objective or whatever. And it's just floundering. So, all right, no problem. I get it. You don't want to cooperate today. I'll stay out of your way. Maybe it works now, but like I said, this game is about risk management first. I gave this thing plenty of chances. In a nice trend environment, it just goes, right? Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. That's a trend. We're not getting that here. Now, the broader trend hasn't changed. I agree it's still bullish. It's just you have to have a lot of patience in this market. You have to be able to sit through all this noise and, you're going to watch your P&L fluctuate all over the place. I say don't waste your time. If you're like a beginner, don't waste your time. If you could get away a little bit green, like I'm going to do, you turn the computer off and you're done with it. So now I don't have to deal with a negative day here, right? Look, this would be back negative on me. And I got away with $38. So as you can see, look, I'm at 51.10. So I'm basically I'm up $1,000. I'm barely advancing this account, as you can see, right? I'm barely advancing it, but at least I'm advancing. You know, my other account, I can't say the same for my other account, which was a backward day yesterday. So, see what I mean? And the Trade Scanner Pro kept me in this trade. How many times is like, all right, I'm going to bang this out? And the trailing stop was never touched. It was never touched. So, great lessons to learn here. Okay? Great lessons to learn. Any questions, you guys? Yeah, Michael. That was actually I had four micro lots. Micro lots, not mini lot, micro lots. I had four of them on at one point, and the market is just not advancing. So I was blowing them out one by one, reducing my risk the whole time because this thing's just not cooperating. But typically, I begin the trade with two micro lots. In this environment, I can afford to do maybe three because it's a more tame environment. But that's my typical size is two micro lots. Okay, so and I had these opportunities. When we go back to the blue line again, this is Trade Scanner Pro. I was trying to add to it, and I mistakenly put on two, and I had four micro lots. Which again, I try to avoid that kind of size in this environment for this type of account because I don't want to have like a $500 loss in this account. I'm trying to advance the account to $3,000. I have 2,000 more to go. And as you can see, in this environment, it's going to take some time. Okay. Yes, it's just been him. It's been pretty tough. Now, so before I sign off, guys, I want to mention this about this environment. Understand where we are in the yearly seasonal volume. This is something a lot of people don't pay attention to. May to August is when we see typically a decline in volume, but it's not in like one day. It's a process. So we're in May, we're getting into June now, right? So we're likely to see a general decline in volume, less and less participation. The bottom or the peak of low volume is usually weeks 3 and 4 of August. That's when volume is the absolute worst. And you have very, very sporadic markets. Oh, you get maybe some news items here and there that'll spike the market, and you have very brief momentum. But outside of that, it's just miserable, right? So if there's ever a time you're going to spend away from the markets, usually that's a good time. All right. So that's the time. And I bring that up because that's what we're going into right now. This type of environment that we're seeing here is not that surprising. On top of that, we have a holiday coming up. So we're going into a holiday environment, right? And what do people do? What do Wall Street people do on holidays? They all go away. They all go to the beach. They go to the Bahamas. They all go to their nice houses, and they, you know what they do, right? We see all the glamour on YouTube, all that kind of nonsense. Well, there is a seasonal reason. Like there is some seasonality. There is some truth to that. At one time, that's what actually used to happen. Okay, but so people go away and volume dries up. So volume dries up, that's not exactly good for day traders. So please keep that in mind. So what do? You become more conservative. You expect less. Maybe you trade less size. Maybe you don't trade every day. Like if the market's giving you a hard time like this, you walk away. Like I see this, I'm not going to trade. I'm probably going to not look at the market until 2:30. And I'll see if there's any type of improvement. Maybe I'll get involved a little bit. I don't know. But after yesterday was not a good day for me. So, I'm not in a hurry. All right. So yeah, so a lot of learning, a lot of valuable lessons here. So people, again, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time, 9:30, basically do for an hour. I know my competitors stream every day and they stream for 8 hours, and I just can't compete with that. So I'm just doing the best that I can. But these are learning opportunities for you. Go back, watch my old streams, okay? Because we always have unique situations with the Trade Scanner Pro. You're not going to learn this from a book, and you're not going to figure this out on your own. It's not intuitive. That's why I'm doing these streams. So I can teach you firsthand how to use this tool effectively. It's a confirmation tool, right? So people sign up for it. They don't know how to use it. They cancel because they're like, oh, this thing sucks, right? Because you're not using it properly. I've been getting away. I'm up $1,000 in this account, and I've been using the Trade Scanner Pro, and I don't trade this account outside of this stream. So every trade was taken on this stream using the Trade Scanner Pro. Nothing behind the scenes. Or, you get these fake gurus. Oh, look, and they do an upload. Oh, look, I made $1 billion. And look, and then they show you like a replay. Come on, man. But it fools people. So I can't fool people this way. All right, guys, because you're seeing this in real time and you can follow it on your own. So, yeah. All right, so people, so I don't see any questions. You guys know where you can find me. If you want to send me an email, right, mark@markpmarkets.com. And if you have any questions about the Trade Scanner Pro, also, again, don't forget, subscribe, like the channel, press the notification bell. If you're on Twitter, please retweet the stream because that always helps. These algorithms don't like me, as you can see, and I'm not doing enough to really cultivate a numbers on this thing. So I definitely need a lot of help in that department. Look at this market, back up to those highs. But whatever, man, I don't care. All right, guys. So cool, guys. Thank you all for taking your time with me here. I hope you learned something. And like I said, there's lots of valuable lessons. Go back, watch, learn, practice, paper trade, replay your trades. Watch, this is the breakout. I just want to watch this thing. This is the breakout, right? I sat through all that nonsense and watch, we're going to break out now. Okay. All right, you guys. So then Friday, we'll do this again. Okay. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for watching.